All right, so let's dive into a topic I think that's been making headlines, and especially if you're prepping for the UPSC exams, this is going to be pretty relevant for you.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Betwa River Linking Project.
Yeah.
This is a pretty massive undertaking right here in India. I got a stack of articles here from the Indian Express, the Hindustan Times, all shedding light on different facets of this ambitious project.
Yeah. And you know what's really interesting about this is it's not exactly new.
Oh, really?
It's been in the works for decades. I mean, the idea first surfaced back in the 1980s, but things have really started moving just recently.
Yeah, I did see that a new agreement was signed just a couple of years ago in 2021, and the project is actually slated to be completed in two phases over the next 8 years.
Right.
So it's a pretty significant undertaking linking two major rivers, the Ken and the Betwa. For those listening who might need a quick geography refresher, both of these rivers are actually tributaries of the Yamuna.
And the reason this project is getting so much attention is because of where these rivers flow, the Bundelkhand region. This area covers 13 districts across Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, and it's been struggling with drought and water scarcity for a long time.
And it's not just the environmental impact we're talking about, right? We're talking about millions of people who live in this
Yeah,
region,
exactly.
their livelihoods, their future. It's a complex situation with high stakes.
Yeah, the Ken Betwa Link Project, or KBLP, as it's often called, is aiming to be a game changer for Bundelkhand. The idea is to transfer water from the Ken River to the Betwa River with the goal of providing irrigation for over 1 million hectares of land and drinking water for over 6 million people.
Wow, those are some big numbers.
Yeah.
And the articles also highlight the potential for generating significant hydropower and solar power. But, I gotta say, I'm a little skeptical. We've seen these large-scale projects before, and often the promised benefits don't quite materialize on the ground.
Yeah, that's a valid point, and that's why it's so important to look at this project from all angles. While the potential benefits are definitely attention-grabbing, there are also significant concerns that can't be ignored. So let's start with the environmental impact. Experts have been raising alarm bells about the potential consequences for the Panna National Park,
Oh, why?
a critical biodiversity hotspot in the region.
I was reading about that, and the figures are pretty alarming. Close to 100 square kilometers of the park could end up submerged, which would be devastating for the wildlife,
Yeah.
especially the tiger population.
And what's particularly concerning is that the Panna Tiger Reserve has made incredible progress in reviving its tiger numbers after they had actually gone locally extinct.
Wow.
This project, specifically the Dohan Dam, could jeopardize all that hard work and put this fragile population back at risk.
And it's not just about the tigers, is it? Other vulnerable species like gharials and vultures, which are already facing threats, would also be impacted.
You're absolutely right. The potential for large-scale deforestation is another major concern. Millions of trees could be felled for this project, and that has serious implications for the ecological balance of the entire region. And we haven't even gotten to the social impact yet. So the displacement of thousands of families, primarily in the Chhatarpur and Panna districts, is a major concern. There have been protests and anxieties about whether the compensation will be adequate and if the benefits of the project will be distributed fairly. These are very real human costs that can't be ignored.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, I'm kind of curious about the science behind some of these concerns.
Yeah.
One of the articles, I think it was from the Hindu, mentioned a study by scientists at IIT Bombay that raised questions about the project's potential impact on rainfall patterns in the region.
Yes, that's a crucial point. The study you're referring to looked at the hydrological cycle, which is essentially the continuous movement of water on above and below the surface of the Earth. The scientists found that large-scale water diversions, like the one proposed in the KBLP, can disrupt this delicate balance. This could lead to unforeseen consequences, including a potential decrease in rainfall, which would obviously be counterproductive to the project's main goal of alleviating water scarcity.
Right. Yeah, that's a really important point. It seems like there's a lot of complexity here, and the potential consequences go far beyond just the immediate area where the rivers are being linked.
Absolutely. And this project has also been caught up in quite a bit of controversy. One of the biggest points of contention has been the decision to allow construction within the core area of the Panna Tiger Reserve. This was approved by the Union Environment Ministry, but there's been a lot of pushback because there's no precedent for allowing such heavy infrastructure within national parks or tiger reserves.
Yeah. That seems like a pretty risky move, given the potential impact on the tiger population and the ecosystem as a whole. So what are the arguments in favor of allowing construction in such a sensitive area?
Well, the proponents of the project argue that the economic benefits outweigh the environmental risks. They point to the potential for increased agricultural production, job creation, and overall development of the Bundelkhand region. But critics argue that these claims are overblown and that the long-term costs, both environmental and social, haven't been adequately considered.
So this kind of seems like where the role of the Central Empowered Committee comes in. I remember reading about their concerns in one of the articles, but I'm not entirely sure what this committee is all about.
That's a good question. The Central Empowered Committee, or CEC, is a body appointed by the Supreme Court of India. It plays a crucial role in examining environmental issues and making recommendations to the court. In the case of the KBLP, the CEC raised serious concerns about the project's wildlife clearance and also questioned its economic viability.
So they're essentially acting as a watchdog, making sure that all the necessary checks and balances are in place before such a massive project gets the green light.
Precisely. They're there to ensure that environmental regulations are being followed and that the potential impacts are being thoroughly assessed. Their concerns definitely added weight to the debate surrounding the KBLP and highlighted the need for greater scrutiny and transparency in these kinds of projects.
It's fascinating how a project like this touches upon so many different aspects: geography, environment, economics, social justice, and even legal considerations.
It's a perfect example of how interconnected these issues are, especially when we're talking about development projects on this scale. The decisions made today will have ripple effects for generations to come, so it's crucial to get it right.
You know, it reminds me of a time I visited a village in Rajasthan that was facing severe water shortages. It was heartbreaking to see the struggles people were going through just to meet their basic needs. It really brings home the human cost of water scarcity and the importance of finding sustainable solutions.
That's a powerful point. It's easy to get lost in the technical details and the grand plans, but at the end of the day, it's about people's lives and their well-being. And that's something that needs to be at the forefront of any development project.
Absolutely. So where does all of this leave us? We've explored the grand vision of the KBLP, the potential benefits it offers, but we also delved into the complex environmental and social concerns that have cast a shadow over this ambitious project.
It's a story with multiple layers, and the debate is far from over.
Yeah, it really highlights the challenges of balancing development goals with environmental sustainability and social equity. It's a dilemma that's playing out not just in India, but around the world.
It certainly is. And you know what's fascinating here is that the KBLP forces us to grapple with some fundamental questions, like what does sustainable development really mean? Is it about prioritizing short-term gains, or is it about finding solutions that respect ecological limits and ensure a just and equitable future for everyone?
Yeah, those are some heavy questions. And it seems like there are no easy answers. But maybe that's the point. Maybe projects like this are meant to make us think critically about the choices we're making and the kind of future we want to create.
I think you're right. It's about recognizing that progress isn't always linear and that there are often trade-offs involved. It's about finding ways to reconcile our desire for development with the need to protect our planet and ensure the well-being of all communities.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Betwa River Linking Project, I'm left with more questions than answers. But I also feel like I have a much deeper understanding of the complexities involved. This isn't just some abstract policy debate. It's about real people, real ecosystems, and the very real choices we make that shape our world.
And that's what makes this such a compelling story. The KBLP serves as a microcosm of the larger challenges we face as a global society. It's a reminder that we need to approach development with a sense of responsibility, taking into account not just the immediate benefits, but also the long-term consequences for both people and planet.
It's a lot to think about, and I hope our listeners will continue to explore these issues and engage in these important conversations.
Me too. And for those of you preparing for the UPSC exams, this deep dive into the KBLP should give you plenty to ponder as you delve into topics related to geography, environment, and current affairs. Remember, it's not just about memorizing facts and figures. It's about understanding the interconnectedness of these issues and developing your own informed perspectives.
Absolutely. And as always, we encourage you to do your own research, explore diverse viewpoints, and form your own conclusions.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it insightful and engaging.
And don't forget to subscribe and like for more deep dives on important topics. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those critical thinking gears turning.